Sama. Mau belajar
Let's party.
Good evening. I'd like to call the Thursday, March 12th, 2026 meeting of the Kingston Finance Committee to order at 6:30 PM. We have all 5 members of the committee present in person, so we will not need to conduct a roll call vote for attendance. Couple quick announcements before we dive into business. The Finance Committee, Capital Planning Committee, and Community Preservation Committees each have at least one vacancy. Any resident who wishes to volunteer, please email fincom, FINCOM, at kingstonma.gov. Is there anyone here who wishes to be heard for public comment?
Would we be allowed to get out and talk when you bring up our committees?
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. All righty. So, without any public comment aside from the specific budgets, one quick announcement for the benefit of anyone trying to follow along with our agenda. The budgets for the collector, treasurer, tax title, and veteran services are going to be postponed to a future meeting to accommodate conflicts from those departments, make sure that they are where they need to be and they are available to answer questions, which they asked if they could do on another night. Considering we've got about 15 other budgets, that seemed like a very reasonable request.
Mike, I'm sorry, could you?
Yeah, so basically collector at the top, and then treasurer
Treasurer at bottom.
and veteran services.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I'm going to ask you to skip the sealer of weights and measures for tonight also.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Okay, there are a couple of individuals who've asked to be heard toward the beginning of the meeting. The first of those I'm going to recognize is our town clerk, Paul Gallagher. Appreciate him being here this evening. There are 2 budgets for which thanks also to Jonna for being here, the assistant town clerk. Those are toward the middle of the budget. The org number you're looking for begins 01161. Please make sure that you are using the updated budget. It should have been in the packet that was provided to you this evening for election and registration. The town clerk budget proper, I believe, should be fine as of the 130 version, but you want the updated packet. The important item in there is that you should see in the elections and registration. It's the one that has a gray box behind the number 9,000 for police detail.
Okay, could
So-
you just repeat that?
Yep,
Michael?
so we're gonna start with the town clerk,
I got it.
01161. The next budget after that, which is 01163, is election and registration. That budget you're gonna need to replace with the update from the packet we were given this evening. 'Cause there was
I'm
a,
sorry.
It's
Oh, no.
okay, take your time.
Very sorry.
Take your time.
Okay, so. Is it just void? Can I just mark void?
yes, absolutely. All right, I certainly do not wish to speak over the experts on this. I did have an opportunity to meet with some of the staff in the clerk's office about these budgets. One thing which I'll ask that they explain, because I'm sure that they can do it better than I can, is that these budgets are somewhat unusual in that they do not really fit neatly into the annual budget cycle because of how much of the expenditures are driven by changes in the number of town elections. So basically, every 4 years, there are 2 years of which the upcoming year is one, where they are obligated to run at least 3 elections. There's 1 year with at least 2 and 1 year with at least 1. We are going from a 1 plus an override year to a 3, which is going to explain a lot of the increases in their budgets. But at this point, I would turn it over to the town clerk if there's anything he or the assistant town clerk want to address with the town clerk's budget specifically.
I'm saying,
Okay, yeah, I mean, I don't think we can explain it any easier than it's been explained. The budget does generally, or does specifically, increase or decrease depending on the amount of elections that we have. In the typical scheme of things, there's 1 year where we have just the annual town election. The following year, there'll be the annual town election and 2 state elections. And the following year, there'll be the federal elections as well. So for each one of those 3 years periods, or 4-year periods, because it's 2 and 2. For each one of those cycles, it changes our bottom line. Because we'd need that many less police officers for details, programming and mailing, postage, the whole bit.
And are you referring just to your election and registration budget? As well as the
Town clerk.
influence?
Marcia, you need to turn your mic on.
I thought it was. The influence that it has on the town clerk. Because those election cycles are totally beyond your control. So we can't, there's nothing we could do or say to you about those things.
No, the budget, to be honest with you, both of our budgets, both the election registration and the town clerk budget, are as tight as, and have been for the past 8 years, 9 years. There's not a whole lot there that doesn't either require us to do it under a state or federal mandate, or has just been held to a specific amount.
All right, why don't, for the sake of smoothness here, why don't we start with if there are any questions related specifically to the town clerk's budget. This is the one that shows a bottom line office total of $228,607. Do any members of the committee have questions that they want to address? I see David nodding.
Yep. Just real quick on revenue. So revenue FY '26, last increase to fees, whether it be marriage, death, dog licenses.
We've actually been talking about that for the last couple of years, of increasing fees.
This year will be as great as any.
Yeah, it would be, and we're trying to collect surrounding communities and other communities to see what they're doing. We are probably one of a select few that's still running at maybe the lower end of the scale. But I can be honest with you, you're not going to get a whole lot more out of it. $10 for a dog that's spayed and $20 for a dog that's not spayed. You're not going to increase it to $40.
Yeah.
$20 and $40. It's a dog license. It's a state mandate. So some of the fees that we charge are right in line with everyone else. There may be a few that are lower than others. Maybe we could go up $5 on a birth or a death. It's just $5 is $5, but there's not a whole lot of increase in what we're looking for from each year.
Derek?
Has the revenue been fairly consistent as far as what we're looking at? Has it kind of been hugging that $42,000?
You know what, I wouldn't be able to tell you that offhand. As an educated guess, I'd say that our revenue has increased nominally,
Okay.
just because of growth. With growth, there's more people looking for birth and death certificates. There's more people licensing their dogs. So along with growth, you get some nominal increase in revenue.
But it's not like we're jumping up 50%.
Yeah, it's not like we're selling
year.
something new.
Sorry, I'm looking for money everywhere.
So on the dog front, right?
Yeah.
So you know how at the transfer station, if you're 65, you get a break.
Mm-hmm.
And can we apply that not for dog age, but for yappy dogs compared to non-yappy dogs, and do a different price structure?
I was gonna say, don't do it on weight. I have 100-pound dog.
We're already answering the question, why is it $10 more for a dog that's not spayed? I'm sure the yappy dog would be an issue.
And then just one other item, because I know we look at elected official salaries later. Is the 2% increase, that's in line with what we're expecting for the step, for the
That's That is what, yeah.
Okay, I just wanted, I
The-
figured
the
that's
COLA
what it was,
increase.
but, okay, yeah.
No, that's a step.
And,
It's a step.
No.
Step.
the
I
step.
thought the step was more than 2.
It's 2.5.
Yeah,
isn't-
okay. It wasn't 2.
But I know that we've been in line with trying to make sure that we adjust that salary accordingly each year. So just wanted to make sure that was what was reflected there. Yeah, that is all I have. Thank you.
Vicky or Marcia?
No questions.
I'm trying to compare,
Take your time.
I'm sorry, with last year's, what I thought was the approved budget. And it looks like your union and clerical salaries are exactly the same as they were in FY '26, is that right? At 116, well, it's 116,239 last year, at least on my budget, and this year it's 116,807, like 0%.
Oh, yeah.
What I'm confused
Have
about
those
is,
been put in yet?
what I'm confused about is, I had your top line elected official salary at 101,409. Where did I just?
The
write that?
elected?
Yeah.
I wish. I truly wish.
Then it got bumped, it was, maybe I'm wrong, was it 91? I'm just trying to compare. That's the step, the 2%. So that's a 2% bump from whatever your FY '26 salary was.
So, and what does it say there?
It says 94,793 FY '27. And in FY '24, it said 91,587.
That was 2 years ago.
24.
No, I'm sorry, I meant FY '26. I'm looking, I wasn't.
26 is on this page, it's 89,791.
Yeah, at 89,791 was correct for 25,
Okay,
and for 26 it went to 92,934.
okay. That's what I was asking.
So this year it would go another step.
Another step.
One other question, if I may.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
The increase in the training and seminars, can you, just because it's a big jump, I know there's not a lot of, fat in any of these budgets, so is that kind of mandated that you're looking at, or it's going up from 700 to 1,500?
For which one?
Sorry, training and seminars?
Training and
For-
seminars? Yeah, there was a couple of years where I was going, and then we were so busy that I didn't go, so it kind of came down. But now, we're trying to get Jana to go along with me.
Okay.
It's so beneficial to have both of us there, hearing the same things. My apologies.
No, it's fine. I value the having the redundancy in staff there,
Yeah.
so that's
Yeah.
good. Okay.
Well, we've kind of come to a situation where, all three of us in the office can do what everybody else does in the office. But some of us have our specialties, and Jana's got her specialties, and I've got my specialties. So there's always, I go to one classroom and she goes to the other. And yeah, things keep changing.
All right. Do any committee members have any further questions specifically with regard to the town clerk's budget? All right, seeing none, I'd entertain a motion.
I move the Finance Committee vote for favorable approval on the town clerk budget for FY '27 in the total amount of $228,607.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, any further questions or discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Town clerk's budget passes in the amount of $228,607 for a favorable recommendation for FinCom in the vote of 5-0-0. We flip over a page, we get to new elections and registration. Again, a lot of the increases here are going to derive from the fact that we are jumping from a year in which we had one plus part of an election to 3 elections, namely the town election next spring, but also the state primary and the state general election this fall. Do any of the committee members, or rather, what questions do folks have for the town clerk on this side of the ledger?
I don't want it removed, but I'm just asking every department this. Is there anything that could be removed? I'm looking at like the food line item in the event that we were just scrounging for cuts.
So we pay minimum wage, and we can't have people leaving. If you're gonna work, you have to stay the entire day. We've had an occasion, we've had people come in and think, okay, I'm leaving at noon, I'm gonna go home for lunch, and we just can't have that. So in order to keep them there, we provide catering services for them.
Okay.
And that, I think, what, we do have 900 this year? No, 3,000 rather, 3,000.
3,000, yeah.
So, I mean, that also, I try to budget what is gonna happen along with what could happen. You know, we've had years where we had 7 and 8 elections. Someone resigned from the state senate, you have to have a primary, you have to have an election, that's 2 more, and someone, you know, resigns from Congress, and then all of a sudden you gotta have another one. So there's been years, so there could be a tiny bit of fluff in there, but not too much.
I think it's probably-
And we do turn over everything that we don't use.
Right.
For what it's worth, that $3,000 is $1,000 for 3 of each elections. And
Right.
you're looking at 20 or so, probably closer to 25 folks,
Yeah,
between wardens and inspectors
yeah,
and folks at the entrance table, folks at the exit table. So
exactly.
I assume we're not,
Yeah, I don't think that we're being wasteful in this. It's more just a generic question that I've been trying to ask that, at the very least, puts it into people's mind, the reality of the
And we've
financial
never really
Not
gone
that they're not
beyond,
aware of it.
we've never really gone beyond sandwiches and chips for lunch, and maybe chicken
I could
broccoli
have
ziti
sworn
for
I saw
dinner.
filet one year.
I was thinking
Chick-fil-A,
that.
Zach.
That's right, it was chicken. It was the filet of chicken. There we go.
All right.
Sandwich.
Chicken finger.
Dave, Nikki, Marcia, anything on the elections budget?
None
Seeing none,
whatsoever.
I'll entertain a motion.
I move that the finance committee vote favorably for the election and registration FY27 budget in the amount of $91,175.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Finance Committee recommends
Thank you
favorable
very
action
much.
on the election and
Thank you for
registration
your time.
budget.
Well, thank you for
5-0-0.
coming.
All right, thank you both very much. Have a good evening. All right, we are going to jump out of the departmental budget review in a sense for a few minutes to welcome Jason Frazier, who is a member of both the Plumpton and Silver Lake School Committees. He's here tonight in his capacity as a member of the Silver Lake School Committee. Hello.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
first from the Agricultural Commission, we have a meeting at 7.
Okay.
Any
I would-
With
possibilities?
the yield. Okay. Agricultural Commission is org number 01187. They are maybe half a dozen pages. Their budget, I would say, is probably on the more straightforward of the ones we will review insofar as it consists of a single line item in the amount of $1,000. Would those who are here from the Ag Commission want to speak briefly about this?
Well, I just wanted to know if there was any indication that the board would reduce that, because we do have documentation of the expenses we've had in prior years.
No, just briefly speak to the organization, what you do.
What do we do? John, what do you want to do? John is our chairperson.
Hi, I'm John Webble, I'm the chair. We try to promote agriculture in the town. We act as intermediaries when there's a problem, or we try to. And our big event is the agricultural fair in the summertime. Hopefully some of you have attended. And that's it. But our biggest, yeah, Don't throw me off, Gene.
My understanding
I'm on a
is
roll. We also are trying, through programs, trying to promote agriculture, even home gardening. And we've done that the past couple of years. I mean, and little by little, we're trying to grow those programs.
My understanding from previous conversations is that the bulk of that relates to police detail work for the fair in September.
It did originally. Now a larger portion goes to the seed saving program with the library
Okay.
and programs, because a lot of speakers, some are very reasonable and some cost us money. Nobody works
Any
for
other
free.
questions or concerns? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that the Finance Committee vote for favorable action on the Agricultural Commission FY27 budget in the amount of $1,000.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Finance Committee recommends favorable action on the budget for the Agricultural Commission for fiscal '27 in the amount of $1,000 by a vote of 500.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Frazier.
Thank you for coming.
All righty. So, now that we are one budget closer to the end of tonight's proceedings, we can invite Jason Frazier from Silver Lake back up to speak a little bit. Yeah. So the reason I didn't put that number on time. To speak a little bit about, I believe primarily the a amount of money that Silver Lake is hoping to dedicate to a backlog of capital items, and also I think to try and contextualize that for us within the overall assessment for Kingston from Silver Lake for fiscal '27. Insofar as he's forgotten more about this than I will ever know, I'm going to turn it over to him.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, thank you for having me this evening. I've been doing the circuit, so please forgive me if I gloss over any of the details. Feel free to call me out on anything that I may leave out for you. So the Silver Lake Regional Schools comprise the two most valuable pieces of real estate we collectively own as the three towns. The estimated value of the high school and the middle school buildings alone, if we were to replace them right now, would be about $500 million. During the past 10 years, after we had an extensive building envelope study done on the Silver Lake Regional Schools, we used our excess and deficiency fund, which is similar to free cash on the town side, gets certified through DOR in very similar matter. We've been using those funds to take care of our deferred maintenance programs and projects, including repairing the roofs of both buildings after the 2015 snowpocalypse. Believe it or not, we're now 11 years out from that. We punctured the membrane roof in several hundred places after we were ordered by the state fire marshal to shovel our roofs off, which we later found out he didn't have the right to tell us to do in the first place. So we got those roofs all the way back up to compliance and under warranty, the original manufacturing warranty, and we took care of some other deficiencies around the building that allowed water infiltration into the building. However, we always knew, the three towns and the committee, that using excess and deficiency funds was not a long-term way to finance our capital improvements and capital maintenance program. Just last year, we had an extensive architectural and engineering report done by a third party that showed we have about $53 million in repairs that need to be done over the next 10 years. It's broken out into phases, and unfortunately, we're already a year into phase one, which was we should do this immediately. But again, we understand the financial constraints of our three-member towns. We have financial constraints at the district as well. So we started looking at some creative solutions to try and take care of this, and the solution that we arrived at was looking at the debt exclusion that's rolling off, or the mortgages for the original construction of those buildings. One of them is rolling off this year, and one of them is rolling off next year. So you would see in the detail of our assessment, $706,000 is rolling off of the debt for the mortgage on the schools. The Silver Lake Regional School has added $700,000 in to our operating budget under the Silver Lake Stabilization Fund which will be used to fund our capital plan moving forward. We will also add $600,000 next year to that fund to bring it up to $1.3 million when the additional $600,000 rolls off the final mortgage of the buildings. So the net impact on the taxpayers would be zero. We do understand that for certain towns, that does mean moving from exempt capital into operating dollars and the ramifications that could have. However, taking out a bond for $60 million to take care of these projects would basically quadruple what you're currently paying in the debt to Silver Lake at this point. And if we ever had to build brand new schools, Kingston's own portion of that would be over $15 million a year annually for 20 years. So we're not in a place where we think we want to take out a bond, nor do we think the taxpayers of our 3 towns would support it. So we've come up with this middle ground solution. With that in mind, we did have a less than level service budget that we brought into the towns. We brought our budget in at a 2.5% increase overall. That is a reduction in force for us at Silver Lake. We will have to do cuts to 5 teachers, 2 paras, and an administrator to try and bring our budget into a place where we think the 3 towns can support our final number. Now, the assessment alone for Kingston for FY27 would be $17,732,816.71. This is an increase from last year of $559,030.35. That number includes our 2.5% increase and also the $700,000 for the Silver Lake Stabilization Fund. But you also would see in the assessments, you saw relief of the $706,000 in the debt rolling off. So that's our proposal for taking care of the debt at Silver Lake. We know that $1.3 million a year will not be enough to take care of our $52 million problem, but it will give the town some time to recover financially. Hopefully that we could approach you in the future with some warrant articles for specific projects. It would also allow us to age the building enough that we could get some MSBA funding, which is Mass State School Building Authority compensation. They sometimes fund up to 40 to 60% of certain projects. We're just not there age-wise yet. And we also have our own maintenance staff dealing with a lot of these issues in-house underneath our normal maintenance and operation expenses. So this is I was saying at one point, a 3-prong approach, but it's so multi-prong, I can't even encompass it anymore. So we have a lot of different ways we're going to try and approach this without having to take out bonds. We want to leave room for all 3 towns to take out bonds for their own projects and not encumber any of those funds from them either. So thank you for having me this evening. I'm happy to take any questions that you may have.
Jason, mainly for the benefit of everyone who's both sitting up here and watching, can you first talk a little bit about how what you're suggesting kind of plays into the budget process for Silver Lake, since that has some quirks that are a little bit different from the budgets that we vote on otherwise, in terms of how they can or cannot be approved or entangled by votes in Plimpton and Halifax?
Okay, so since this will be part of the regular Silver Lake operating budget, it will take 2 of the 3 towns to vote yes on it. Okay. Because these funds are putting in the Silver Lake Stabilization Fund, there's actually safeguards under MGL that those funds cannot be used for anything else in our budget except for our capital project. So under penalty of law, we cannot touch that for anything but taking care of the facilities. Again, we would want to bring that up to 1.3 next year, and then we'd have to have conversations in FY28 and beyond if we want to allow that to grow at the nominal percentage that the budget grows by, or just leave it at 1.3 in perpetuity. Again, this is going to have to be an ongoing conversation as we move forward. The critical matter at hand, though, is some of the repairs that need to be done, as I said, should have been done a year ago, probably even more. We do not have any money in our budget this year to fund capital. Our excess and deficiency fund was just certified by Department of Revenue at $809,000. I would love to see that number get back up to the statutory limit of $2.2 million and then come back and have a conversation with the Finance Committee and Select Board of would you like to see anything above the 2.2, lower your assessments, or would you like us to hammer away at more of the capital projects as well?
Wait, can you repeat that, those numbers?
Which one?
DOR certified
Mhm.
your,
Excess and deficiency,
okay.
similar to your free cash,
Okay, okay.
Yep.
At 809.
809.
All right, and that is like unrestricted money, true? Like our free cash, you can just use it?
If we added it into our budget, it would have to be voted at town meeting.
The
for
809.
Any of that, like, we can't just willy-nilly dip into E&D without the approval of the towns. Now, the way MGL is written, if we had like a boiler go in one of the buildings mid-year and it was $80,000 and we had nowhere else to go for it, we could use $80,000 from E&D, but the towns would have 30 days to challenge that. Now, the relationship we have is we would let the towns know, we just had an $80,000 problem, we have money to take care of it, this is how we're gonna solve it, are you okay with it? Right? It's not usually worth the town meeting to challenge an $80,000 problem. And nobody wants to come up with the money themselves if we have it on hand.
Do you have legal clearance on this whole concept?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah, this is actually the standard model that the MSBA recommends. Not only that, when we go to approach MSBA funding in the future, the fact that we have a Silver Lake Stabilization Fund to fund our capital will actually get us 2 to 3% more in state aid than we would if we didn't have this fund established.
And you're creating a, so to speak, capital stabilization?
That's right. Actually, at town meeting a couple of years ago, we established this fund. So the fund has been sitting there idle because we knew this day was coming, and we were looking for a revenue source, and this is the solution we came up with to fund it and try not to impact the tax base of our 3 towns.
Thank you.
Jason, one more thing, again, primarily for the context, just so that folks understand the context of these numbers. When you generally are throwing out numbers that are relative to Silver Lake, the share of that is essentially assignable to the town of Kingston is
56%.
56%.
Yep.
So a little over half. The other thing I wanted to ask, and I guess this would be directed to the folks to my right, the top-line budget document that we were given tonight, it's my understanding that number, the Silver Lake number is 17.2, so it does not include the additional assessment that Mr. Frazier's talking about?
That just does not.
Okay.
I'm not familiar where the 17.2 number came from.
So the number that you read us for the Silver Lake assessment to Kingston was about 17.7 million?
That's correct.
Okay. The number that is in our budget document as the Silver Lake estimate for fiscal '27 is 17,270,064.
Oh, I have a.
That's last year's number.
Yeah. I have.
So I've got a fiscal '26.
I'm looking at.
So just to kind of clarify,
Please.
Before I had heard about this $400,000 capital stabilization, I had, in talking with the school, I was told about the 2.5%. So this figure that's in our summary includes the 2.5%, but a reduction, it does not include the debt service because that comes off. So our portion of the debt service for FY '27 was about $406,000. So there is a reduction because we're no longer, obligated to pay the debt. The debt service has decreased. So I had heard about the comments, the suggestion about capital stabilization, but it wasn't actually what I was presented insofar as that the budget included that, and that was not had already been voted, discussed, and planned. So
My recollection of when we voted the debt service budget was that it was just the Kingston Elementary School, and one other, oh, the senior
So
citizen
this
center.
this is different debt, so this is, it's a bit confusing, so I apologize if this seems wordy, but we have the town's debt, which the town itself is contractually obligated to pay.
That, and we
And then,
voted on.
and then, yes, and then, so the regional school district has its own debt. It's under Silver Lake. They are the, who's it under? And then the debt service that they have is allocated proportionally based on the yearly calculation. In this instance, is a reference to 56%. So that is what we pay, that portion of Silver Lake's debt. So it is not on our debt schedule, it is in the school assessment number.
Right.
So it gets a little confusing, but because it is exempt debt, it impacts our levy limit. So because that debt service comes off in FY '27, we no longer have levy capacity for that same debt service amount. So it's decreased by that $406,000. So if we put the $400,000, we increase the Silver Lake assessment number that's on the summary that everyone got today, we would exceed the levy limit by over $300,000.
Okay. Is the Silver Lake budget is set, right?
Well, we voted our budget in compliance with Mass General Law, Chapter 71, 16M, to make sure we had it 45 days before your town meeting.
Okay.
So yes, we've already voted our budget.
And your budget that you voted is $17,732,816.71.
That would be the portion of Kingston's assessment to Silver Lake.
What we would put in our budget as the Silver Lake
That's correct.
portion of our total town
That's
budget.
correct.
And, because we've already listed $17,270.64. So that's the delta. Is that the $559 that you were making reference to?
No, it looks like last year, your FY 26 overall payment to Silver Lake, including the debt and the assessment,
Yes.
was $17,173,786.36 last year in FY 26.
That's right.
Right.
And we estimated as a placeholder to do our, I think, I don't know, was this an actual? I thought this was always a placeholder.
It was based on the information I was given by the school. When I asked what the voted budgets were, because it was a very recent, I was told that the Silver Lake budget increase was voted at 2.5%.
I think that's
Because
right.
the debt service was no longer going to be anything that we were obligated to pay, I reduced it by that amount of debt service.
So you reduced their budget of $17,730,816.71 by our share of the $700,000 debt service. You did that.
Marcia,
And
do you
put that,
see-
no, I'm just trying to figure it out, Kathleen.
I get
Just-
what you're saying.
Yes,
Yes,
because it was,
but did you know that was going to happen?
So remember,
Were you-
I am an
were
elected
people talking
official.
to each other?
I am not one of the actual administrators. I know sometimes people get confused. I'm a Plimpton Town resident on the school committee. However, I have a pretty strong background in municipal finance and MGL. So I was tasked as the agent of Silver Lake to come and explain and work with you all on this. I've been on the road since early December. As some of you were here for the selectmen's meeting over a month ago, I explained the process. I'm sorry if the information wasn't conveyed to your office accurately. But what we voted was a 2.5% budget plus the $700,000 to the Silver Lake Stabilization Fund. Understanding the takeaway from our debt rolling off would balance it out and have an overall impact of 2.5% on the town, with the understanding that it might change which pockets the money's coming from because of excluded debt. I know for a fact that at least one of our towns does not use exempt capital to pay their portion of the debt to Silver Lake. I didn't know where Kingston was. One of the reasons why I've been coming around having these conversations.
Can I just summarize what I think is
Yes.
going on here? Okay, because there's a lot going on. You have a budget here of 17.2, yada, yada. That does not include the 400 debt service, correct? His number includes the debt service that was approved. Answer. His
Well, there-
budget is 17.7, which is the same as ours at 17.2 without the debt service, which we no longer incur. Right? That's
That's
it?
how I understand it as
All right.
well,
Thanks.
which would result in an overall increase for the Silver Lake total that you paid from last year to this year of a 3.3%. And I know sometimes people say, well, if you did a 2.5% budget, how'd we end up at 3.3? You ended up at 3.3 because you had a change in the population of your students, which put your part of the assessment higher. Plimpton is at an 8% increase with a 2.5% budget. Halifax this year gets a 0.8% increase because they had a population decrease. So it affects all three of our towns a little bit differently based on population every year.
Okay. Thank you very much. That
Thank
was,
you for
as
coming.
Vicky was, I think, right to say that there's a lot going on here.
Absolutely.
Um,
And this is, I know, an outside-of-the-box way of trying to solve a very dire situation with the physical plant of our Silver Lake campus, and to try, this is, in a way, an insurance policy against catastrophic failure of one of our schools. It's the best way I can encompass this.
Okay. One final question for everybody's clarification, because we haven't really reached, the school administration has asked to present on the various facets of the education budgets for next year at our meeting 2 weeks from now on the 26th. My understanding is that our flexibility is somewhat more limited given the role of the separately elected body of the school committees in terms of what we can and can't even, I mean, we can recommend, I suppose, whatever we want, but what can actually happen on town meeting is an up or down vote on the Silver Lake assessment. It's not subject, in a sense, to anything like a line item veto.
There can be amendments made on the floor of town meeting. It gets extremely complicated because of the way assessments are made.
Yep.
So it would probably result in a no vote on the budget,
Yep.
which would then send the school committee back to reconsider the budget, which we have limited time to do before the state steps in and they set a budget for the towns. I mean, I think we would be more than amicable to make that happen if, God forbid, that's where we end up. But again, this is why I've been talking about this now for over 8 weeks. If the towns don't have the capacity or the will to put this before their voters, we need to know, so maybe we can amend earlier. I have gotten support so far from the 3 towns to continue along this pathway, from your own Board of Selectmen unanimously voting to support it. And I know that wasn't, yes, we can afford it, they just said it was a good idea. That was essentially what their vote meant, and I know that's what it meant. I appreciate that support. The financial reality isn't there, Michael, then we'd have to come back. We would have no capital plan for Silver Lake for next year, and we would be playing Russian roulette.
I have a question. I'm
Go ahead.
sorry. Do you have anything summarized for the different options that we have to look at? Like
The
something that we
different
can all-
options of us doing a debt exclusion for 60 million,
Yeah, and just the different scenarios that you have on the table. You said you had 3
I
different
have
scenarios.
3 scenarios.
Can we get a copy of those?
Yeah, you can get a
That would
copy
be
of
great.
these.
I
So-
mean, I would just like to look at it and
Yeah,
visualize it.
but
Yeah.
again, if we take $60 million out, 20-year muni bond, 6% interest, you're looking at $5.2 million a year to service that for 20 years. That would quadruple what Kingston's currently paying for our debt that's all rolling off, right? So instead of seeing it roll off, we'd see us leaning in times 4 what we're currently paying. If we don't take care of the buildings, we might end up over here having to build 2 brand-new buildings, which would be a sin because they're only about 22, 23 years old. We should be able to get 50 years out of these buildings. But as you get to 20 years, all of the univents in every single classroom is now beyond its maintenance cycle. We're holding them together, but we will have to start replacing units en masse soon. Our roofs are starting to go. We're going to hold up for MSBA funding, but all of those patches we put on the roof 11 years ago are starting to peel up. We're starting to get bubbles. We're starting to get new water infiltration.
And you're looking for a line of credit against?
I'm not looking to take out any debt. This is not a bond. My plan would simply have the 1.3 in the operating budget, safeguarded by MGL that we could only use it for maintenance, to take care of the most pressing issues, to give all of us time to catch our breath financially, because we know you're up against it, we do. That's why we didn't put a series of warrant articles for $20 million worth of equipment
And
into
is
it.
it feasible to do that with all of the repairs that you need? By putting the most urgent in line and next year, the next most
We believe that
urgent?
if we can secure the $1.3 million and then eventually approach for a couple very specific targeted warrant articles, and when our E&D rebuilds to 2.2 million, have a conversation, can we use $1 million this year for this specific project? We can get through the punch list without having to take out a bond.
And what's stopping him from moving forward with that plan?
With which plan?
Green plan?
It sounds as though they've already voted that budget.
They've
Yeah.
And
done
it's
that.
just not
It's a-
presented in ours, so there's
Okay.
nothing.
Yeah.
There's
And
nothing we
What I'm
can
gonna
do tonight.
suggest, I think, at this point, it's just past 7:15. I want to thank Jason for being here. I know he has made more than one stop in this building in the past
I'm happy to come as
couple of
often as
months.
you want.
We do, I think, probably need some time to digest this, particularly as it sits with the other items that are before us. We've got the conversations with the Silver Lake administration scheduled for the 26th, but I do also want to make sure we get to the needs of the other folks who come out.
Absolutely. I appreciate your
In
time.
addition to the other 15 or so budgets here, and at this point, barring anything kind of last minute, I'd suggest we might want to proceed with the rest of the agenda for tonight.
Could I just ask a quick question? So you talked about the study and the various phases. Do you have that documentation that outlines the cost for each phase?
Yes.
What's involved?
Yes.
Is that something that can be distributed to us?
It has been distributed to the towns already last year. I gave it to Michael again
5
today.
o'clock. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a public document. It's eye-opening. The pictures speak volumes. It's 120 pages long. And the deferred number is $73 million if we actually do the projects over the scope that they laid out, not $53 million because of cost creep and inflation.
I have forwarded that from you to the members and the other folks here
Oh, great.
behind the
Thank you.
table for their perusal after
Thank you.
this.
Appreciate that.
Thank you, that'd be
And
helpful.
all 3 towns have approved your 17.7 million.
Not a single town has approved our budget yet. Nobody's had town meeting. You
Okay.
guys are up first.
I'm
One of the
sorry.
reasons why we were so quick to get our budget in was to meet the statutory 45-day minimum before your town meeting.
Oh, thank you.
So that's why we already have our budget done. We couldn't wait any longer
And I
than we
really
waited.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
I do. Thank you so
Marcia,
much.
Thank you.
just so you have the number, that 17 is for us. The Silver Lake budget, I would guess if our number is at 17, the Silver Lake total number is probably around 31, give or take.
I think
Actually,
we
our
went through
budget's
the-
around $42 million, but we get over $12 million in state aid every single year between transportation, Chapter 70.
The total assessment is
Total
around-
assessment's around $30 million. You are
No, I'm just
correct,
looking at
Michael.
what goes in
Absolutely.
our
Yeah,
little.
Good.
Mike
Thank
just wants
you.
his math to be right.
Thank you, Ken, okay.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, sir. Have a good night. All righty. So, we have now to go back to the first item, the budget review. I want to thank the other folks who are sitting out there waiting very patiently for us for their patience. Because we have already had a brief conversation during our last meeting about the planning board. I think I'd like to, if we could, start with that. That should be very close to elections, maybe even the second one behind it. In your budget book,
Thank you.
thank you. All right, so 01175. So we did have a preliminary conversation about this budget. I believe there were requests from a couple folks that we revisit this evening. I think what would probably make the most sense is if anybody, I know that I was pretty satisfied with what I saw. If there are folks who remember that there were questions that they had from last week that they wanted to bring up, this would obviously be a good time. Val, if there's anything you want to kind of say by way of preliminary remarks, you're certainly more than welcome, or we can just jump into questions.
Just two quick things. We realized that the staff, the support staff line item had to be changed. So your budget that you have today is the correct one, 25,518.75. That's different than what you had last week. It was at 12,000 because we were funding somebody that was going to be like 10 hours a week when we really meant to go to 19 and a half hours a week. So that's a slight change from what you were looking at last week.
All right, so basically in the packets that we were
That you
given, there
have.
should be an update to the planning board budget, and that budget should feature a bottom line of $154,822.75 for an increase of just under 9%. As Val just said, the entirety of which lies in the clerical union salaries up near the top.
Yep. And by way of history, I've gone back 20 years in the budget. The expense line item hasn't changed much in 20 years. We try to keep it level. Luckily, we've been able to do more remote training, things like that, so we've tried to keep it balanced. There's recording fees, there's limited training, there's advertising for public hearings, engineering services, and office supplies, and then dues and memberships. So there's not a lot there. There's no wiggle room to cut anything. I did want to share with you, with this little pie chart that I made, that planning isn't a revenue-driven department. 1% of the numbers that you'd be looking at are revenue when you look at the planning department's budget. About 7% is salaries, 8% is managed engineering money that we have from a variety of different sources, including town meeting. And then you're looking at about 84% return on your dollars in terms of grant money that we get. So the amount of the budget is primarily grants and managing grants, applying for grants. So I just wanted to make that clear. We did look at our fees in 2022 and 2023 when I first got here. And these numbers go back for about 5 years, to the time that I've been here, 4 or 5 years. So we're looking at $10 million in grant and programming money that this office is responsible for. A portion of that is with streets, trees, and parks. We have $2.9 million that we're seeking right now in additional funding, and leveraged funds is $1 million. So even though we haven't had a lot of permits in the last year or two, this department is extremely busy, and that support staff is really important. And it's a level-funded budget from that perspective.
Can I ask you a question about this? I'm so glad you put this together. Because there's this impression that people have that because of the water moratorium and whatever, that there was nothing happening in the planning department. And this just presents so clearly that there's a lot going on, regardless of whether they're big, huge, comprehensive permit applications being heard and decided. So I'm so happy you did this. My question is basically, the subtotal of 10,246 here, that's the grant and programming revenue. I know that's over, a lot of it is still current. It's like through 2025.
It's happening now.
It's
Yep.
happening now. All of that $10 million is managed by you and one full-time, I'm trying to look.
I don't have staff
You?
right now. It's managed by me.
You.
I have a little bit of, there's, in terms of programming money, 8.7 million of that, or roughly 8.8 million is for the Exit 20 reconstruction. So if you take that out, you're looking at 1.5 million, give or take. That's overseen by me, and
But-
probably 100,000 or 200,000 of that is programming money from OCPC and not actually handled by my budget.
Plus these almost $3 million in pending funds that would, if nothing changes in your budget, it will be still managed by you and one part-time employee.
Yes.
Okay. I think your department is grossly underfunded, and I'm sorry for that.
Well, yeah, we were impacted first, and we're the only department that had a layoff of support staff. And it's been difficult because the idea of having the other support staff person from building department has never been available to help. So it's a one-man band right now, and we're really hoping to get that funded.
Oh, you got to get
Yeah.
that's just a no-brainer. I'm talking about if there's a potential that we're going to have an override, okay? And there's no willingness to cut any other department that has this kind of impact, this kind of fiscal responsibility and impact on our
I'm sorry, can I interrupt, please?
ability to
Do you have a
grow.
question?
I'm just saying, I think
All right,
that
all right,
you
let's-
should get more money.
All right.
Yeah, I'm here as a citizen representative, and that's my position as a single board. Thank you, Val.
Okay. Are there any other questions from members of the committee relative to the planning board's budget as it was revised for this evening? All right, if not, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that the Finance Committee recommend favorable action on the Planning Board for FY '27 budget in the amount of $154,822.75.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? The Finance Committee recommends approval of the fiscal '27 Planning Board budget in the amount of $154,822.75 by a vote of 5-0-0. Thank you very much for your time again this evening.
Thanks, Val.
Thank you for coming, Val.
Thank you, Val.
Okay, so the bulk of the rest of our budgets for tonight fall into one of two categories. They are either under the purview of streets, trees, and parks and related budgets, which I believe we have some folks here who have waited very patiently for us to get to. And then the other budgets are mostly very small. One of them, I believe, is $100. So hopefully at the end, once we've had a chance to speak with streets, trees, and parks, we'll be able to move through them fairly quickly. With that, the four budgets that are under this purview include snow and ice, which I'm sure is in delightful shape after the past several months. Solid waste, which is the transfer station, street lighting, and streets, trees, and parks. I know that, I'm blanking right now. Did you meet with them? Is there anything that either you or our guests want to.
I'm deferring to the newbie.
Yeah,
That's how this works, right?
There we go.
It's called
All right, is there anything just kind of general that you'd like to,
Oh, no, this
Sean, just,
Which
I would-
budget are we talking first?
let's start off with street trees.
all right, so streets, trees, and parks is fairly deeply buried in here.
We're, 142.
Okay, look at that.
So Sean, just explain to the folks, the first line item, wage personnel, because that had the play in it.
Yeah, so last year, I think Keith and Kathleen, they had put 165,000 in there and possibly getting a DPW director. They wanted to make sure the funding was in there. So without getting a DPW director, that's why now it's dropping down to 133. The transfer and adjustments for the 105 was used for the purchase of the trackless machine in the front. So that's why you see the difference in there. So the 165 was in there in anticipation of a director, which never went through. So now it's the 133, which will be my current for FY27.
Congratulations.
Thanks. Thank you.
Okay.
So that's that line item.
So like, that was the one big kind of red flag that I saw that I questioned. So, yeah, Sean, thanks for rehashing that.
No problem.
Other than that, this budget's actually, a lot of line items, but it is fairly simplistic. You're gonna see essentially a 30K increase on the expenses.
Right.
It all boils down to the top lines, number 2 and 3 for contract paving and resurfacing. So I like to think of it like this. As far as the town's roads, we get Chapter 90 money, which is the money the state gives us for the roadways, right? And you'll see that in your revenue at the bottom, okay? So, it's normally around 500, 600K a year. Above and beyond that, any money we're investing in the roadways is where you'll find contract painting, contract resurfacing. So that pretty much makes up the 30K increase between those two line items. And as we talked to Sean, I mean, that's basically contract services, the cost is going up. We're still trying to do the same that we did last year, it's just the cost of everything is going up.
Yeah, the price of asphalt's going up this year.
Um,
Plus,
So-
we have to go out to rebid for the paving. So we're not gonna know what we're gonna see until we put it out to bid in about May.
It's going to.
So I have to
be a
plan
lot.
on that.
Yeah.
I mean, 3 years ago, we used to get $500,000 through the capital plan for road maintenance. That went away. So now I'm stuck with $200,000, and hopefully through the state, I get 900. But in perspective, $1 million doesn't go very far paving. So,
Sean, is Chapter 90 special projects, or is there is that the formula based on road miles in the town?
yeah, so it's the road miles of the town population. That's all figured in
Yep.
for what every town receives.
Yep, okay.
I know there was talk about increasing Chapter 90, but there's always talk in the State House about
Yeah, okay.
everything, so.
Well, they had, Scott and I had received something the other day that they could be, now it's not voted on yet by the legislature, but it could be an additional 640,000 on top of what we get. But we can't plan on that, because if it's not voted in, then we're not gonna get it, so.
And that process is not going to be anywhere near final by the time that we have to.
We won't know about, we probably won't find out on that until about June,
Yeah.
May, end of May, beginning of June.
Sean, what is this remaining project funding available,
968,000?
I don't have 968,000 in my chapter
I
9.
was gonna
Kathleen,
Okay,
I don't.
all right, I was just saying.
No,
wow.
Kathleen will explain it.
No, so the town has various projects that it's awarded, so it's over the scope of years. Like, these aren't everything that they're gonna do like in the spring or anything like that. So we get a listing from the state It lists all the amounts that's awarded, what's been spent, and then there's available balances, but it's like for certain projects. I mean, Sean's the expert, but, like, there's a few engineering projects that are going on right now, and so there's
Yeah,
some
there's
money
still
available.
ongoing jobs with that money, so it's
Yeah.
not,
It's
the
only-
available balance right now is just about $200,000.
Okay.
But there is 900, that's the ongoing work that can continue from year to year.
Okay, I think you've answered my question, thank you.
Okay.
And then Marcia, on June 1, they get their
Another
annual-
900 and whatever.
Six-
They get their
6 to
another,
900.
a lot.
Road miles, population,
Right.
that's all factored in, yes.
All right,
Yep.
gotcha, thank you. It just it was confusing. It looked like we had more money than we do.
All right. Derek, Vicky, anybody else?
Oh, are there, I like how I'm just like the cut guy.
Somebody's gotta ask, right?
I know, you know what,
Gotta be Derek.
should I
It's
tell
your job.
everyone my home address too, and what I drive?
Yeah, your social media account, your
You know what I'm
Facebook.
gonna ask.
I know. Basically, in ours, it's tough, it would have to come out of the contract resurfacing.
Yeah,
I do, like David said, we have a lot of line items, but a lot of them, we just can't afford to make cuts out of. It would either be contract resurfacing, which will cut down on some of the paving work, or we could do like vehicle parts and just hope nothing breaks.
Yeah, and they
Like the
have,
sidewalk
But
lot.
other than that, like some of the engineering money, that's,
I mean,
we
what
have
about
to keep
contract
that.
painting? That sounds like a Boy Scout job.
Yeah.
Like,
That's painting all the roads
Get
in
some
town.
volunteers.
you want to see my
That's the
son's
stops,
paint?
that's everything.
little kids love paint, come on.
I mean,
Outside the box here.
we could stop painting, but I don't know how much the police will like it when everybody's cross lane violations
Please,
and
it's hard
marked
enough
lanes.
for some people to stay on their side.
Appreciate that, thank you.
Yeah, Derek, they have one big piece of equipment, it's a Vector truck.
Yeah.
That is near its end of its life. So I wouldn't even look into cutting the parts budget, because
That's where the
That's
little
what's
kids
holding.
come in.
that
That's
truck,
where the little kids-
that truck may need it in
Yeah, it's about
itself.
22 years old.
During the
That's a-
1800s, they had child
That's an
labor.
$800,000
Heard
truck.
Great things about it.
But it's a truck we have to have because per the MS4 and DEP, we have to clean the catch basins every year. And that's a truck used.
Off the top of your head, do you know what your head count is? I know there's you and your admin here.
Oh, I have 5 CDL driver laborers.
Okay,
I got 3 equipment operators.
5, 3, don't go too fast.
I know, okay.
CDL, equip.
Yep.
Okay,
I have a interim foreman right now,
a foreman, okay.
a mechanic, my admin, and myself.
And I knew you had two too.
Yep.
And
So as
interim-
you'll see, it's gonna come up also that we will be asking for additional staffing. We haven't increased staff since 1995.
How did you manage to keep the road, I mean, it must have.
How?
Yeah.
We worked about 90 hours. Not straight,
I
but
mean, I'm
almost
really
straight.
impressed, I got it.
Thank
You didn't hear about he said 95, but there was actually a new driver, Jack Daniels.
Oh,
Did you meet him? He's a new town employee.
Yeah.
why is the?
I activated the robots.
Why is the foreman interim? Is he just like in a probationary or?
He's interim right now because the job has not been posted.
Okay, perfect, all right.
The job, I'm hoping will be posted soon, because then my foreman the interim will go to foreman, then I still have to backfill 3 other positions.
Okay, but
So I'm
there's.
hoping to get that all done by May, but we'll see.
Oh, perfect, thank you.
Yes.
All righty.
One sec, make sure we have the right one here.
So 1438, and in the,
Are we gonna move this one, the 1.4
no, we're gonna move
mil?
the new one.
The 1.48.
43.
00692.
8. Oh, God, I don't have that.
It's in the packet.
It's in the packet. I got it. I move the Finance Committee vote favorable approval on the Streets, Trees, and Parks FY '27 budget in the amount of $1,438,006.92.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Finance Committee recommends favorable action on the street trees and parks budget for fiscal '27, the amount of $1,438,006.92 by a vote of 5-0-0.
Thank you.
All right, next one in our books is snow and ice. If you wouldn't mind, because there are some, shall we say, unusual rules that operate for the snow and ice budget, if you would, for the benefit of folks who are doing this, and I think that's at this point really all of us, for the first time in a season as challenging as this one, to just walk us through what the kind of budgetary quirks of snow and ice are.
Well, it's just one of the budgets that you're allowed to overspend. The thing about that budget is you never want to increase it, because once you increase it, you don't want to, you can't decrease it.
Yeah.
So basically, 361 per se has always been a fairly decent number, except for this year, but I think the previous 3 years, we did not, I think last year, Kathleen, maybe it was like 1,000, but the previous 2 years before that, we didn't spend the 361,000 in winter.
Excuse me. My notes from our last meeting suggest that the deficit for that is about $630,000 and that we were over.
Yeah.
Where are we now?
Close to 7, because we still have, because the problem is we had salt on order since January, and now they're finally getting it to us.
Yep.
I did cut off a little bit, but we still have to take most of the order, and then at the end of the season, we have roughly 27 contractors, and they get a $1,000 bonus at the end of the season for every contractor that showed up for all the storms.
Whenever the season does.
Whenever, yeah, we'll probably
If
pay them
ever.
out by like the 3rd week of April, but.
If ever the season ends? Okay.
But we still have the remaining part of salt and the contractor bonuses to still pay out now.
Okay.
And just hopefully we get no more. I'm looking out the window, it's snowing pretty good right now, but I think it's too warm to stick. No, it is, really.
Oh.
It's too,
Yeah.
it's too warm to stick.
No more snow.
I'll blame that, I wish he was here. We'll blame that on the police chief. Right, Scott?
Have you talked to Scott about how we should pay for that? I know we can borrow, remember, there's many, you put it on the
discussion.
tax.
Yeah, that's a discussion that, we'll have
But you
later.
guys gonna have-
That's gonna be with us and the selectmen and then ultimately
Right.
town meeting.
Because it's really outside of your control, I mean.
Yeah, it's outside of our control. I mean, for instance, Plymouth's a lot bigger of a town, but they just released, they spent $2.5 million
Yeah.
in that blizzard, where we came up, we spent about 440. It's about 400. I'm obviously twice the size of the town, but I'm just saying.
You did
it's
a
out
much
of our
better job, by
control.
the way.
Huh?
You did a much better job, by the way.
Thank you.
No, it is what it is.
Make sure that's documented
Yeah.
for your performance review.
Yeah,
So,
All
I
right.
appreciate what you guys do.
thank you.
Derek, what's up?
One final question. Can you just kind of speak to the line item here for equipment rental under snow and ice? Is that,
The equipment rental is the contractors.
oh, okay, that's what I
So all the
figured it was,
contractors
but
we bring in, they get paid under that line item.
under
They're
that line
actually
item
like
versus an
equipment
overtime.
rental for the contractors.
All right, and overtime would be all of the staff.
Overtime
all the
is our
Okay,
staff, yes.
perfect. Thank you.
All right. I'll entertain a motion.
I move that the Finance Committee recommend favorable approval for the snow and ice budget for FY '27 in the amount of $361,080.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Finance Committee recommends favorable action on the snow and ice budget for fiscal year '27 in the amount of $361,080 by a vote of 5-0-0.
Thank you.
Street lighting. Very briefly, just explain, I mean, it kind of does what it says on the tin.
Right, very
What's
basic.
a
I mean,
street light?
all the street lights you see around town, we pay for.
Okay.
So any on the streets, we pay for. There are some that are private that they pay for them, the homeowners,
Yep.
but the majority of them, about 90%, we pay for.
Are we
And the-
mandated to do that? Like, or is there a requirement for us to put up street lamps and, like I said, it's just a unfunded mandate, or do we just do it because we
We can go to
Feel
candles
happy.
if you want now.
I would love candles.
Stop me on that.
Oh,
That's
imagine
one
there'd be a
question
certain
I don't
amount
have
of
an answer
liability.
for.
To not have them up, but I'm not sure.
We can take the zeros from this budget and stick it on the end of the.
My card does have headlights.
I was just curious. What? You told me to cut. I'm here cutting.
He's trying anyway, he's
Literally
trying.
with the telephone poles.
You know what? I'm gonna go out there with the BB gun and just start shooting up. All right, I got nothing. Thank you.
So the
If we see
increase,
this max-
electrical costs went up, so
Yeah.
that's part of it.
Yeah.
We see this
Eversource
math
is
man
letting
running
us
around
know they were going
unplugging
up a few
everything would be you.
That's why you see the slight increase in that.
Okay.
Just so we can cover it. Or we could just shut them all off. I don't think that's, we can't do that at intersections.
We do that every other day.
All right, I'll entertain a motion for streetlights.
I move that the Finance Committee vote for favorable approval on the streetlights budget for FY '27 in the amount of $70,000 even.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, abstentions. Finance Committee recommends favorable action on the streetlights budget for fiscal '27 in an amount of $70,000 by a vote of 5-0-0. 3 for 4. Last up is solid waste. Hey, John, whoever, if anybody wants to.
This is the transfer station, also known as the dump.
Oh,
The,
wasn't there a correction on the revenue?
Yes, they
yeah,
fixed
so if you're confused, in the revenue box, the years are switched. So, our revenue is up, not down. And if you notice, there's been an initiative starting last year or the year before to try to get this self-funded. We're making our way, we're making headroads to it, it's not there yet. But the fees have been increasing each year, and we're trying to get to self-funded.
And they just approved an increase.
Yes, they did.
The Board of
We-
Selectmen
Tuesday
just
night.
did it.
Yeah, and they
Should be in there.
changed also, they cut down the ages.
Oh, they did,
Yeah, because there
We
are too
just
many
changed the fees,
categories.
we just changed the categories, the fee schedule.
right.
Instead of having 62 to 65 and then 65 plus, it is now just 65 plus.
Oh, I
And
think
under
that's-
65, so there's just 2 rates for those
I
now.
think you should raise the old people stickers too.
So,
I'm an old person and it's an unbelievably good deal.
I think I'm gonna use that next year, that Marcia told me to go up next year on all the elderly.
That's fine with me, I have no
Okay.
social media presence.
All right.
so there's only one thing on this budget, honestly. So you'll notice, an increase from 26 to this coming year on the overtime. So last year, we made cuts, and we didn't do the, you know how you gotta do the annual sticker, right? They didn't do the weekends.
That's right.
They wanna bring back the weekends.
The brush,
Yeah, well, no, the
Cutting?
reason,
No,
the
to
reason
get
why,
the stickers annually, you have to go in and buy the stickers.
and the
Oh, yeah.
reason why we cut, and the reason why we had cut Keith last year when he was here, and I think we would, the reason why we cut is because we were hoping that the online sticker program was working, and it could be done during the weeks, so he cut the weekend overtime, that's why it was down to 6,000. Well, unfortunately, working with Scott now that he's just come in, we won't have it ready again this year, unfortunately. So we have to,
It's on the list.
it is, it's being worked on, but unfortunately with a new program and training, by June 1st, unrealistically won't work.
So anyways,
When we start selling them, so now we have to bring some of the weekends back.
that's
And that's
back
why
in the
the
budget.
overtime went up.
okay.
And
makes sense.
they pump through a lot of those, and I don't know, I'm a user, so I see it, and I see the annual Facebook posts and rants about the hours and all the last minute people go on the weekends because the police officer's there denying them, they got a truck full of trash, and their stickers expired, so then they all run down on Saturday and Sunday mornings
With their trash.
with their trash in their truck to get their new sticker.
It's an easy way to get into Grace Beach too.
Yes.
And let's not, that overtime budget could actually be 32,000, but we're still keeping the Monday nights closed.
Okay.
So eliminating the Monday nights is saving $21,000. Also, we used to do 7 chippings a year. We're only doing 3 now. That saves another 9,000. So between those two, we're saving about 30,000 in overtime. And last year, when we cut the Monday nights, at the very beginning, there was not a lot of happy people, but 2 or 3 months later, I think everybody's used to not having the Monday nights now, especially where it saves $21,000.
I kind of like the Monday nights back too, but not the $21,000.
No.
All right, any other questions or concerns related to this? I'll entertain a motion.
Real quick, any cuts on this that if you had to?
Really, the only cuts we could possibly do on this is equipment repairs, and just hope nothing breaks. Because
Yeah.
you can't cut out of the trash line item, we can't cut out of the recycling line item.
Hazardous waste
The
collection,
engineering-
we've got an ocean right there.
You're really pushing
And
it.
that legal budget's going to every zero in this
I
book
think
by
we're
the
gonna-
time Derek's done.
Right.
I can't
All
even,
right.
we couldn't even
I'll
dump
dress up
snow
like
in the
Ninja
ocean, so
Warrior.
we're not
I
gonna be
saw
able to
that.
dump trash.
Right.
So am I just, real quick, am I reading right that roughly, so out of the 815,000 in expenditures, about 80% of that, 81% of that
Is
is now
expenses.
recouped through revenue? Does that sound about?
That's about,
Ballpark?
yeah, just about
Okay.
ballpark, yeah.
Okay.
And we're
And that's-
hoping, like I say, in 3-year increases,
Yeah.
little increases, that hopefully by that 3rd year, we should be, that
That's
what
up-
Scott and I were looking at,
And
we should be
while-
right about there
Yeah.
at self.
That's up from 70
Oh, yeah,
or
way up.
68% when I
Yeah, I
started
remember when I
complaining 2 years
That's-
ago.
Yeah.
That's the Carl Pike Challenge.
Yes.
Yes, yeah, you're right.
All right, I'll entertain a motion.
I move the Finance Committee recommend favorable approval of the solid waste disposal FY '27 budget in the amount of $815,164.49.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Finance Committee recommends favorable action on the solid waste disposal budget for fiscal '27 in the amount of $815,164.49 by a vote of 5-0-0. Thank you both again for your
Thank you.
patience and your clarifications.
Kathleen, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Chair. Did you want me to speak on the fuel, or is that
Oh, yeah, there was discussion
Yeah.
last week
Yeah.
about the general operations
general
budget.
operations? I'm
I
sorry.
think
yes.
that it was.
Yeah.
I didn't want to leave and then have.
No, thank you for,
Yeah,
I
questions.
forgot. I think it was I think we
Yeah.
Yeah.
decided that was gonna be postponed, because there was some questions
Okay.
about the fuel and,
Yeah, the question was more for me, and it's, and I was thinking about it after the meeting, that I'm not thinking that anyone is out there joyriding in any town vehicle. My concern was just making sure that individuals within certain departments know sort of how they are contributing to the fuel budget. So I'm ballparking here, and so I apologize, but so for the police, if we bring on a new police officer, that we know that there's going to be a corresponding increase in fuel based upon that. So is there any way that the department heads get that information, or is there any way that they could? I mean, ideally, I'd like to see some sort of just kind of understanding where we can connect an expense if possible back to a department, so that every department has just the most up-to-date information about.
So you're basically saying you see what the department is using for gallons of fuel?
Yeah,
like-
that's exactly what I'm
Yeah.
asking, just that they
Yeah,
can see.
there's a way I can do that. If a department head asks, if the town administrator asks, if anybody asks, I can pull that off the system.
Yeah, and
I can find exactly, I mean, I can't go by which driver, which
right,
vehicle.
and I don't,
But-
and it's not like I think there's someone doing donuts well, there is someone doing donuts in the Target parking lot, but it's not one of our.
I mean, for
Me.
instance, like our department, like our police department probably uses, I would say 100% sure, they use the most gasoline in town.
Right.
They have more vehicles, most all theirs are gas, they have more on the roads at times.
Mm-hmm.
Diesel will probably be a toss-up between ourselves, highway, and the fire department,
Mm-hmm.
because all their ambulances, fire trucks are diesel. But as far as a number, if anybody asked, a couple hours, I could do the research, I could
Okay,
pull
yeah,
some
that-
numbers if needed.
Yeah, and that's just kind of the question that I had, is that do we have the ability to kind of go back and say, all right, we're spending X amount of fuel towards the police department, and that makes complete sense, but just when we do an increase, we need to be just cognizant of which departments are driving that increase.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
We can provide that if needed, yes.
All right, I did not get this put onto the agenda correctly for tonight. Rhonda, were you able to get general ops onto the agenda for next Tuesday?
No, but it can be covered under other items as needed,
Other items as needed.
which is at the bottom.
Sure, let's do
Unless
it.
you want to.
Someone can tell me where that is.
All right, I'm gonna hold off on this just for
I
the
could, but
For the
since we have upcoming
sake of
meetings,
formality, we'll
let's just add.
add it on, and I'll make sure that that gets added on.
Okay.
In the future. I think we have an agenda item for the 17th that might cover it a little more clearly, and if not, we'll take care of it the 26th. Thank you both very much, we really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys, appreciate it. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty. So, hopefully you have been able to find in the table of contents that we now have an order for these. And I'm going to try and take the rest of what we've got slated to vote tonight in the order it appears in the book. We're going to start with what I am sure will be a hotly debated budget, 01114. It should be near the beginning. This is the budget for the town moderator.
Oh, $100?
Yes.
Cut.
Where can he go?
It's like very.
You know where I am?
I
I'm in
move
the
that we
packet.
approve the town moderator budget in the amount of $100.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Finance Committee recommends approval of the moderator budget for fiscal '27 in the amount of $100. That was easy. Next one, 2 up, is us, that's FinCom. The bulk of this budget is the proportion of wage and personnel salaries that go to making sure that all of these documents are handled in the way that they need to be, for which we continue to owe Rhonda a great deal of gratitude, as well as a couple $100 worth of budget for various expenses. Any questions?
Mr. Chair, where's the meals, where's the food line item in this budget?
Snack
It's in
line.
the invisible ink.
Oh, okay.
Does it make sense for us to have the training seminars, office supplies? I guess office supplies, but I've never taken a training here.
There are occasional opportunities for
Okay.
this, and I would just assume leave it in there for
Works for me.
princely sum of
And then
$200.
It's not
Free
gonna,
cash at the end.
Precisely. I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the finance committee budget in the amount of $8,549.
Is there a second?
second.
Seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Rings in like Cabo.
Not $200. Finance Committee recommends approval of a Finance Committee budget for fiscal '27 in the amount of $8,549 by a vote of 500. Next one
Reserve fund.
is the reserve fund.
That's us, too.
That's kind
I
of
want
us,
more.
yep. Okay. The recommendation from the administration was that this be reduced from 60,000 to 50,000. This is a pool of money that must be voted by us. I think we've had one request, if I'm remembering correctly.
The
had to do with
chief.
the police station.
HVAC units
issue,
for
the
that.
HVAC
Yeah.
over there. These typically come toward the end of the year. I know that in my tenure on the committee, this has fluctuated between about 50,000, I guess 38,000 last year, and low six figures. I know it was the preference of, I think, both of my predecessors as chair, that this be on the lower end of things. But if the town administrator wanted to briefly speak as to his recommendation.
Yeah, I just was trying to find a place to cut, and your board was where I decided to do it.
Well, that's why Derek was asking for cuts. He was going to put them all in there.
This was for Derek.
I can't argue with this logic.
Surprise
Thank you,
tactic.
Mr. Administrator.
Derek must have taken you out to lunch.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it is just, I know it's nickel and diming here and there, but just looking at what you're likely to be facing, and it may be like a boiler here and there, I think anything beyond that's gonna require something, whether it's 50 or 60,000, we're gonna require something much more action, so.
Okay.
Again, it's nickel and diming. If you personally feel more comfortable with 60,000, it's not gonna break my heart, but.
Again,
It'll break mine.
just to correct
It'll break
Michael,
yours.
last year, we drew down on 2/3 of our $60,000 in July. We've just been appropriated. And, you know, I think we limped through the rest of the year without anybody coming to us. But I was at the police station. I mean, I'm just waiting for something else to break down over there, okay? It's just a question of, hopefully it won't happen in FY '27, but it's, if I knew that we had some free cash that we could throw out an emergency, I would feel better. It's the only reserve we have other than.
This is the emergency, right?
Yeah,
This
yeah.
to me is if there's
This
nothing
is
else,
it.
this is it.
This is it.
And then, like, I tend to, I'm only one member, right?
Me too.
But like, God, I mean, so you're the new town administrator, right? So like, I told the old town administrator, like, I don't want to be called on in the first month of the year to dip into this. Like,
Which
my
would work.
preference is for them to try to work it out in their budget.
And that's why I don't think you need more than 50,000,
Yeah.
because my recommendation to anybody or any department when we do have an issue will be, let's try and work it out within what we have, and if we have to go to the finance committee sometime near the end of the year, then we will.
Yeah.
And by that point in the year, we also will have a better picture, you know, with Kathleen and I on where everybody is with their budgets and where things, you know, where
gonna be
we'll have
tough to do snow, I
shortfalls,
know.
we're gonna have
Yeah.
extra money, so. Again, it's not a lot of money that I'm suggesting here, but
Yeah.
we are up against it, as you know. Tonight, we're up against it a little bit more, so.
Okay. All right, any other questions related to this? I imagine that we will all continue discovering more about this process later in this fiscal year, once requests get made against that 38,000. Any other questions?
It's 50.
Sorry, this fiscal
Oh,
year.
yeah,
50 is next.
yeah,
Yeah.
sorry.
All right, I'll entertain a motion.
I recommend the Finance Committee vote for favorable approval on the reserve fund request for FY '27 in the amount of $50,000.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Finance Committee recommends favorable action on the reserve fund budget for fiscal '27 in the amount of $50,000 by a vote of 5-0-0. Next, we're going to put forward about, 7 pages to the Wage and Personnel Board. And I'm going to probably turn this over to Derek if he wants, but I do want to preface this by saying this is quite different from the Wage and Personnel bylaw. This is simply the mechanism by which the administrative assistance is provided to that body.
Yeah, so that's really, it's similar to the Finance Committee in the sense that we have a secretary who is there and present and prepares documents, minutes. Not much beyond quite literally that, so.
All right, any questions?
Any
Owen?
cuts you can make on that?
No, because I don't want her hurting me.
Not legally. All right, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that the Finance Committee recommend favorable approval on the Wage and Personnel Board FY '27 budget in the amount of $7,999.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Finance Committee recommends approval of the Wage and Personnel Board budget for fiscal '27 in the amount of $7,999. Moving on, another 7 or 8 pages, we're gonna go find the ZBA budget. If you have any notes on planning, it should come right after. This is a very similar budget. The vast majority of it, well over 95%, is the wage and personnel for the administrative assistance that's provided to that board, along with some de minimis costs for notices that they are legally required to provide. Any questions? Let's take a motion.
I move that the Finance Committee vote favorable approval on the Zoning Board of Appeals budget for FY '27 in the amount of $8,449.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Finance Committee recommends approval of the ZBA budget for fiscal '27 in the amount of $8,449 by a vote of 5-0-0. Last one is fourth from the end. It is always a rather mysterious budget. This is The Cooperative Extension Services, another massive line item, I am sure will touch off hours of intense debate. My understanding is that this is paid to a sort of, it's paid to Plymouth County for some sort of regional program that is related to agriculture. I think it has something to do with 4-H, if I'm remembering correctly. It's also $100, so.
I move that the Finance Committee recommend favorable approval on the Cooperative Extension Service budget for FY '27 in the amount of $100. Sorry if I jumped over anything.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Finance Committee recommends approval of the Cooperative Extension Service budget for fiscal '27 in the amount of $100 by a vote of 5-0-0. So the last item that is under point 1 on the agenda has to do with revenue. I believe the Finance Committee, the Finance Director mentioned that there were some adjustments she wanted to make sure we were aware of relative to that. Is that the case?
Yes, thank you.
What would you like us to go?
So there, I included in today's packet, it is, so it's revenue local receipts estimate. Just to keep you apprised, I mean, you know, revenue is going to be a little bit in flux, given that there will be another round. The state will update their cherry sheet estimates, hopefully for the better. But this is the local receipt. So this is based on all the fees, charges, licenses, permits. This includes motor vehicle excise. It includes the charges for ambulance service, investment income, and various reimbursements that we've received. We also have a small amount for boat excise, and there are quarterly payments for the cannabis facility. There's also something called payment in lieu of taxes, which is for non-taxable entities that we've come to an agreement to. So it is a contribution in lieu of taxes to kind of offset, you know, whatever in a sense of service. So we don't have very large ones, but it is one of the line items.
I don't understand what that means.
Which line
It would
item?
be like a, sorry.
Why not just pay the taxes?
It would be like if a nonprofit organization doesn't pay taxes.
Like if we had
They
a
would
large,
make a donation.
For
So
the
a large
solar- there's like the
university,
solar
and they put a
properties.
huge
So-
burden on our,
I think
tax,
that's-
like our
Oh.
service, our
in Philadelphia,
police.
it
Okay.
was-
But they were tax exempt?
Oh, so
They
they,
negotiated deal.
oh, got it. Okay,
Yeah,
that
don't
makes
think
sense,
we
yeah.
would make that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Kathleen,
Thank you.
Larger
Yeah.
communities will have substantial ones. If you have, you know, there's some cities that, you know, have large universities or hospitals. So you would have larger ones, or, you know, different power, like, you know, solar, wind turbines, like, there's different agreements, and it's really depending on the town. So we try to make, like, an adjustment to kind of have another mechanism to collect some form of taxes where they wouldn't normally be assessed, so.
Kathleen, what line in
It's,
your?
so it's the,
Is
so
this?
in the packet that was handed out today, on the top of it, it says FY '27 revenue, local receipts estimate. And then it is a listing, it shows the FY '25 estimated, FY '25 actual.
I don't have that. Oh.
I
got an-
printed it
oh,
out.
That was in the packet.
Oh, God. I'm
Was it,
sorry,
today?
I can't find it. I have the one that we got from you before. So, hold on.
Well, she's,
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, so as an overview, so this follows the format
So, it's the
of
second page
how
of
we
the book.
report
See, I don't-
these funds
I put
to
my own
DOR.
one together.
So that's why you might look at like why their line numbers and things like that. So this is just a great mechanism to,
Oh, thanks.
for me to kind of follow along with the template, because it's so many different accounts are in their own categories. So this is one of the only things that we ourselves are kind of, can, have some influence over. I don't want to say control, but do have influence over about the amount that we do. Cherry Sheet is the state, the taxes are the difference between, the Cherry Sheet, these receipts, and the tax revenue would be the three, parts of this. But this gives you an idea. So I did increase this a bit based on the transfer station fees that were voted on at Tuesday night's meeting. So this has increased a little bit. So we had, previous to this, the excess levy capacity, without the whole school thing, was 26,000 now, and given the adjustments to, like, say, planning for the salaries, so it brought it up to like 96,000, try to have something. And this is something you don't want to estimate too high. The state will push back if you estimate too high. You have to justify these. It has to be, it can't be just, wishful thinking. So this is what kind of influenced the change in the summary that was provided. So this was increased a little bit to take into account, mostly just the transfer station increase.
As we move further into FY '26, and do we feel like the estimate's kind of we're gonna get closer to the bullseye on the estimate and hopefully might see some movement in a...
I forecasted out based on, because we're 8 months in collected revenue, some of which of these are quarterly, so they're a little bit harder. But I really tried to go through and really see what we could do to increase this, because we are so constrained. But without kind of, hitting a number that was so high that, if you don't make this becomes very problematic.
Right,
So,
right, exactly.
So,
Because,
it's relatively conservative. It's
yeah, I guess that's kind of where I was asking, is like, do we feel like...
It's less conservative than it was. Given our constraints, but, this has a direct impact on free cash. If you raise this to such an extent, you estimate 8 million and you collect 8.1 million, that's all that you have for that extra. So the variance is part of the free cash calculation. So,
Do we know what our free cash is?
No.
Okay.
So, so this is part of the process. So this is one thing that we can kind of adjust sometimes when there's something, comes up through this budget process. So that's just kind of why I included that in it. I hate to overestimate, that's always the greatest, the risk that you have. But this is considerably more than what was estimated for FY '26.
Kathleen, could I found my version of this. What line were you referring to for tax, payments in lieu of taxes?
It's referenced as line 4,
Line
payments
4.
in lieu of taxes.
Okay, it's pretty insignificant.
It's very minor, but it is something that people will ask about, like, why would you get payments in lieu of taxes? So
And you also have listed FY '25 estimated and then FY '25 actual. But I'm confused because it's my understanding that our FY '25 books aren't closed. So do we really have
this was
any...
the basis for when we set the tax rate recap and what the budget was voted on for FY '25. So it's an estimate, and then when we actually get the final, that's when you can kind of get a sense for how well we did in our estimating. And there's always things that can be unexpected. If you look at the FY '25 numbers, if you look specifically at the line item for penalties and interest, which is listed as number 3. So that is always a hard thing to estimate, because you just don't know. You have a general idea. But so in FY '25, we estimated $125,000. The actual for FY '25 was over $500,000. There were some very large tax title properties that were paid off.
Again, I just don't understand. You say it's actual, but how do we know what is actual if our books have not been closed?
The revenues, is already settled.
You've settled the revenue portion
yes.
of the FY, and you had to settle that because we had to set our tax rate in December, correct? Is that part of setting the tax rate?
That's not really
Just trying to
together, but I can.
No, I'm digress. I'll
Yeah.
move on. I have another question.
So our tax rate is set based on the local receipts estimate,
So that's what
because we set it mid-year.
Right.
So we set realistic, estimates based on,
Right, that's what I-
changes and things of the nature. And as the year progresses, we have the final, and this gives you an indication. And you try to use that as something to help you as you forecast in the future. I just wanted to caution against, specifically for like penalties and interest, this was a one-time large payment. We do not anticipate that going forward. So it's not where we could move the estimate to 400,000 or something. This is
Again,
just clearing out.
I just wondered where we got the actual number on our revenues. And I
That's the actual
understand now
revenue
it's
that was
related to our,
collected.
setting our tax rate, correct?
I mean, at a certain point, it turns into fiscal '26 revenue if it's collected after a certain date, right?
It does, it is.
Right, so at a certain point, we stop getting fiscal '25 revenue.
At the end of FY '25,
Yeah,
we're done.
yeah, right.
But when we set the tax rate,
You've
it's
answered
based
my
on an
question.
estimate. But at the end of the year, when we're closing the books and we want to certify free cash, this kind of gives you an indication. You'll have the remaining budgets at the end of the year of how much will get turned back, and then how much between the estimated and actual revenue, which is another, kind of give you a kind of an overview. And this gives you a sense for, what would comprise the free cash.
Thank you. You more than answered my question. One other question. Some of these revenues, as I recall, are dedicated to a specific thing. Like, I thought our rooms and meals that comes in every quarter. Remember last year, it
Yeah,
was
so the meals-
105,000, but it didn't come in time to fund the sidewalk machine or something
Yeah.
like that.
So the meals tax, you'll see that line is empty, there's nothing there. We do collect meals tax, but it was voted at town meeting to go directly to the capital stabilization fund. So it is not part of our consideration for
I was gonna ask that
for
question,
budgeting
too.
purposes. It's strictly for capital.
Just for capital, is it our general stabilization fund, or is it specifically
It's
our capital?
specifically for the capital stabilization fund.
How much is that approximately?
Yeah.
About $400,000.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any other questions or concerns related to the revenue estimates we've been presented?
I got one.
Go ahead.
Talk to me about the room line item. What comprises of that?
That's just, that would be, now they've kind of expanded it, Airbnb, hotels, motels, things like that.
Okay,
So
oh, yeah,
it's the surcharge, like if you ever see the hotel bill with the 45 different charges at the end, one of which is the, optional local tax, yeah.
Okay. And shouldn't we see a bump in that with our lone hotel being used as a hotel again?
Possibly.
I think it's going offline as a hotel.
Huh?
I heard it was going offline as a hotel.
No, it's back online.
No, I heard it's going offline.
Oh, it's going offline?
Yeah, I haven't heard anything of that nature, but,
Okay,
I mean, so, yeah,
We've been
there's,
getting a little something, but.
yeah, it's not sizable, and it comes in quarterly, like it comes in with all the state aid, so it is a little hard to forecast.
Okay.
But it's not, really sizable, unless they were gonna add something else, who knows, but.
Gotcha. Good.
All right, anything else revenue related? Okay, I think that wraps up all the departmental budget review and possible votes line items. We sent Jason Frazier home about an hour ago, give or take. Are there any updates from members who sit as representatives on other committees? I know that the other committee on which I sit has not met. Derek or Dave, I think, are the folks who are most relevant here.
Yeah, we're going through capital. We had a meeting last night. The schools were in for a couple things. But again, we're waiting on our free cash. We have the stabilization like we talked about. We got a whole bunch of lease payments that we got to account for. So I don't know.
Okay.
Waiting on free cash to really see what we got to work with.
Have you all had a meeting in the last week?
And we'll
We have a
prioritize.
meeting on Monday. All are welcome.
Okay.
Who does, do wage and personnel?
Wage and personnel.
Just to, I won't be able to attend next week. I'll be at a accounting conference for the state.
All right. Before we wrap up, I just want to review what we've got on tap for next week.
Can I ask a question?
Go right ahead.
Moving on to number 4. Sorry. Just really briefly. So it was great that Jason came in, but I didn't get a whole lot out of it. Just wondering what we were supposed to comprehend from him. Are we supposed to be getting bits and pieces so we can vote on something later?
So
That's all. I
appreciate that, and I understand the school budget, and particularly the Silver Lake piece, has an extraordinary number of moving parts over which we have less control than just about anything else. I will chat with him as a follow-up to this meeting and try to circulate some information. Probably sort of store it in the back of your mind until the 26th, when the schools make their overall presentation.
And then we'll be more involved. So it was just kind of here to fill us in.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
That was it. Thank you.
Okay. So for next Tuesday, and as a reminder, we are moving back for next week to Tuesday, the 17th. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. We've got the following budgets on tap. The collector treasurer, is collector treasurer on there? Did I get his request to move over or no? The 17th? Okay, so we will move him over to the 26th.
Oh, my God. Oh, not till the 26th?
I think not till the 26th. Okay.
Because we have that space holder that says.
Yep. Yeah, but I think that was
budgets that we punted.
yeah.
It seems like we have so many.
We can look into that. Yeah. At any rate, we also are going to want to look next week at assessing and revaluation, which I believe Derek was on the list for. The
Call on Monday.
Sounds good. Fire Department, Chief Douglas, David is on tap for that, and I believe Marcia and David are going to split the.
David blew me, David did not, he stood me up.
David?
But I'm ready for the police. with
Yeah,
the police.
so, which is, for color here, really 3 budgets. It's the police department to begin with, but also animal control and the harbor master.
They're not on the 12th. They're not on Monday, I think, are they?
They are for next Tuesday.
Tuesday. Oh, that's right. That's okay. I keep thinking it was Monday. All right, you're right, but they're very insignificant budgets.
Police department just put it in the town budget.
I think she's talking about the other 2.
Oh,
But
okay.
I'm going to hold, just for the sake of the way that we had to construct the agendas. The town administrator, I know, had asked that the sealer of weights and measures be held. I think we'll hold that to the 26th. Veteran Services, likewise, will hold to the 26th at the request of the Veteran Services agent. And for the sake of the agenda, I think we'll do our vote on general operations that night as well. As a preview of coming attractions, I have scheduled also for us to discuss the IT budget, the Selectman's office, and the real prize of that evening, all of the school budgets, which is going to leave us on March 31st, which is back to Tuesday, water, wastewater, employee benefits, liability and property insurance, and then to go through warrant articles, assuming we think those are going to be all set by that point, and if they're not, then we might.
Warrant's closing.
Well, then let's hope they are. Please remember that our schedule calls for us to meet back again at 6 o'clock next Tuesday, the 17th, I would imagine, in here. Do any members or anybody else?
And Thursday of next week, correct?
I think they're
Oh, wait a minute.
This week, this week.
They were this week.
The next selectmen meeting is on the 24th.
Yeah.
And at that
7th is,
time, I'll be
26th is
presenting
the
the
Thursday, I
budget.
think.
Okay.
So you guys are obviously welcome. to
Is
attend.
26th the
The
Thursday?
24th,
right?
you said?
Yeah.
Oh, thanks for the invite.
Yeah.
No.
I appreciate that.
Did anyone want to sit with fire, or no?
What's that, fire?
I
Does
want
anyone
to
want-
talk to you.
I would
We
love to
will.
sit with
Okay,
someone else.
Does
That's
anyone
fire.
want to sit with fire?
I'd
don't
love
need
to
to
sit
talk
with
to
So
someone else.
I'm meeting with fire this weekend,
Okay.
Okay.
so
Are you going to do fire with him, or?
No,
Oh.
I just want to,
anyone can join.
anyone to put a,
When is it?
Well,
go with
I'll
it.
email.
any
I'll put
one
a-
Email
person.
can
can
Anyone,
join.
yeah, yeah.
Any
Only
single
one.
person.
Yeah.
You want to,
No, you
like,
go.
rock, paper, scissors?
No, you can go. I'm just going to put, I'll
All right,
ask.
I'm
It's an
quite
idea.
confident this bit can be handled offline. Anything else?
I have a
I move that the
question.
committee
It's
move into
just-
recess.
It is my, I have,
All right.
I have a question.
Okay.
And I don't expect an answer. It's more of,
It better not begin with a C and end with an A.
it, it's, I don't think so. And it's just my personal question, but I have to ask it. I don't understand. I don't understand what happened in fiscal year 2025 that has resulted in us being unable to close our books. I just don't. I mean, maybe we had a data breach, maybe we had a computer crash.
Let's not speculate on anything
Catherine,
of that nature.
I'm
Marcia.
sorry,
There is
Catherine.
absolutely nothing outside the scope of normal operations that has happened. As we are recorded, I would like to be as clear as possible. There is nothing untoward going on anywhere in this town, specifically in my department.
Kathleen,
I would
no,
rather we
it-
do not.
Kathleen, I specifically
engage
made a
in
point, this is just my
Yeah,
personal,
the speculation in a
I'm
public
not-
meeting it needs.
It has
Marcia,
never happened in this town's
Okay,
history.
Marcia, we need to move
Never.
on from this.
Never.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
I need.
So moved.
Is there a
I
second?
think it's a fair question.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? This meeting is adjourned at 8:27 PM by a vote of 500.
It's a fair question.